Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're doing very well today, as always, and I hope you'll still be doing well by the end of this video, because I'm gonna be honest, this one might be a little bit ugly. I can advise the viewers, your discretion is advised. I am not a Shadow player in any way, shape, or form, and we are playing some Death Shadow for the first time ever on the channel, and it might, as I say, get a little bit ugly. So, of course, Shadow does have a lot of carryover with mid-range sequencing and decision-making to a certain degree, specifically resolving discard spells, things like this. But the delicate balancing act of leveraging your life total exactly enough to maximize your damage output with Shadow, while also giving yourself the highest possible buffer at the same time so you don't get cheesed out by the opponent and do too much work for them, well, that's something that I will hopefully not totally punt away, but by no means will I have any kind of mastery of. As I said, first time Shadow, right? So the reason we're playing Shadow is because we have been supported by, in this endeavor, by Confidant tier Patreon supporter Steven Mirabito. So this is Steven's donation list. Thank you so much, Steven. I do appreciate it. I hope I do your deck at least a little bit of justice here. I'm certainly not the one to refine it or to fine-tune it or to show you masterful lines, but we are going to give it a spin. We are going to have some fun. And Steven isn't just giving me any old Shadow list to play. This is a brew. This is what he describes as a mid-range slanted aggro deck, what I would describe as kind of a Jund and Shadow hybrid. We have basically the core Shadow package of Shadow itself alongside Mishra's Bauble, Street Wraith, Traverse the Uvenwald. These things all work in conjunction. They enable Shadow, they help you dig for the card Shadow, and they also achieve Delirium relatively easily, so Traverse can tutor Shadow. We've got a toolbox package of things to tutor for alongside that, especially a very teched out sideboard with a lot of one-ofs like Yixlid Jailer, Collector Oof, Ghost Quarter. These are all Traverse targets, Plague Engineer, Murderous Rider, you name it. We got some other one-of grindy cards and hate cards, and a little bit more attention paid to the big mana decks with 2 Pillage and 2 Ashiok. But back to the main deck, so we've got the Traverse package and we've got the Shadow package. Other copies of the other cards for the Shadow package include Temur Battle Rage, Once Upon a Time, Gore Clan Rampager, and Dismember. And we also have Tarmogoyf, who does see play in Jund and 4-color Shadow decks. But we also, my friends, have a mid-range package kind of alongside it. Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, and Renin 6. 2 copies of the former, 3 copies of the latter. These are cards that are some of the most powerful recent additions to Jund in a vacuum. And Jund, of course, is a classic mid-range deck, so the notion of these cards in the typical mid-range shells is kind of uncontested at this point. Still a couple skeptics of Kroxa, but I'm very much a believer in the power of Kroxa, and there are exactly 0 remaining skeptics of Ren and 6, so these cards are awesome in a mid-range grindy shell. But do they fit here? Well, the idea here, of course, is that we're giving a Shadow deck that little bit more of grinding power. We have some synergies built into Ren and 6, can be a Shadow enabler in a couple different ways. You can ping yourself if you want to, but more reasonably, you're probably going to be looping fetch lands and shocking them in as a Shadow enabler, and as a way to thin out your deck, which is more relevant every time you do it when we're only on 18 lands, digging to more gas, and to ensure that you make your land drops, which is always good for any deck if you're doing it for free, not at the expense of other spells. And it's especially good to ensure that we can escape Kroxa, which is otherwise something that a normal Shadow deck without Ren and 6 couldn't really do consistently all that often, right? So Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, another way to help enable Delirium early, to help go along with the both grindy plan and the aggro plan, because remember, Kroxa can close a game out of nowhere, and Shadow decks historically sometimes have the problem of being a little bit too threat light, sometimes to win through attrition. So Kroxa helps in those regards, and, as Steven pointed out when we were talking, Temur Battle Rage on a Kroxa, that's just living life to the fullest, right? So Anything else that Steven said about the deck? I'm just looking at our messages real quick. We're about to just play a live league with this. We've got GQ sideboard, I mentioned that. You can also loop that with Ren and 6. That's another synergy, kind of off the beaten path. He's really low on our prospects in the brutality and the burn matchup, so he's got 3 brutality in the side. And what he thinks philosophically is that this is an aggro deck first and foremost, shooting for those turn 4 and 5 kills with enough disruption to buy us time to get there to break up the opponent's plan. There is a lack of synergy between Kroxa and Traverse, and also between the mid-range plan and the aggro plan, but at the same time, we do have benefits from having that inherent resilience, that inherent plan B, that inherent grinding potential, and we'll see if it all comes together. So without further ado, let's go play a league with our Shadow Jund hybrid, and let's have some fun. Here we go. Thank you again so much, my friend. Steven Mirabito, everybody. Awesome supporter and awesome spicy deck here. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit even lower on myself as a pilot of this than I would otherwise be. You know, it's bad enough that we're first-time Shadow, but also the fact that we're in this kind of unconventional hybrid territory means that I don't exactly have like a sideboard guide that I can pull up and just follow. Between that and between the super teched out sideboard with a bunch of 1 and 2-ofs, I think it's kind of an exercise in futility to even look for that, so I haven't even bothered. I'm just going to wing it. We're going to see how it goes. Anything else I didn't talk about? I don't think we mentioned this Grizzly Salvage. Not really necessary, perhaps, but I did point out that, you know, some of the things we're missing from a more traditional Shadow list are a couple discard spells and a couple Monomorphosi. Makes sense to cut those if we are adopting a little bit more of a mid-range plan, but you know, we both agreed that there might be a need to just, like a Thought Scour replacement, you know, just a big shot to fill up the graveyard, and especially with Kroxa around, that seemed pretty good to me. Alright guys, so what do we think about this hand? This hand is setting up for a turn 2 Tarmogoyf with a huge graveyard, if we can hit the second land drop, and with Double Bauble we probably can, but it's not guaranteed. We also aren't really disrupting. But, you know, we've got 2 redraws off of Bauble. I guess I'm going to keep this on the play. I really don't know. But what we can do, actually, is use our Baubles to maximize the chance of hitting a land. So let's Bauble ourselves. Or, you know, maybe if we see a Thoughtseize on top. Some other form of disruption we might want to keep. Let's just find out. Bloodstained Mire. All right. Good enough for me. So that's the card we're going to draw. And let's see what the opponent's up to with our other Bauble. Thought Not Seer. Great. It's Eldrazi Tron right off the bat. Well, I don't really know what we're in for, my friends, but in terms of how this matchup goes, I should say. But we're about to find out. Chalice on 1 seems really good against our deck, but to be fair, we have all 2 and 4 drops in hand, so maybe not that good under these circumstances. So opponent plays a land that we didn't know about. They're just revealing that they have Tron all rolled up here. Pretty rough stuff. Alright, we've drawn Inquisition. Is there any desire to play that card? I don't really think so, because they're clearly going to go Tower Hold Up Map next turn. If they like run out Chalice or something instead of doing that, I'd be really shocked. So we got to remember we have Basic Forest and Basic Swamp as our 2 basic lands to get. So let's do a little fetching and shocking here. I think I am going to fetch and shock twice. Kind of planning to draw a shadow. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, there's that tower. There's a fair amount of hesitation here. We might be in for Chalice on one. They could have a Dismember, but... Wow, is this the Chalice? It is. Okay. So we're a little punished for not casting Inquisition, but at the same time, I really don't regret it. Okay, so we've got Temur Battle Rage. So... we have no creature in the graveyard, instant already in the graveyard, so Gore-Clan Rampager would grow the Goyf the most and also get the most damage across right now. The other play is, of course, just to Grizzly Salvage, try to fill up the yard naturally, find another good threat. Really not sure which is better. I think I'm going to go for the Salvage, try to basically find another Tarmogoyf. Alright. Didn't succeed. Didn't grow the Goyf either, so pretty punished. I mean, we are facing down an Eldrazi Tron deck that kept a 7 with Once Upon a Time and Tron and Chalice on one. So we got a lot going against us here. But they might not really have too many top-end payoffs if they sequenced that way. You know, Thought-Knot Seer might be the biggest payoff. Maybe they have an Eldrazi Temple, and the combination of those factors meant there was no special need to crack map right away. Maybe they also just have Natty Tron rolled up. You never know. You never know with this deck. This is in my top 3 most hated decks in Modern by far. I think it's this one and Titanfield, and then the broad umbrella of Ponza or the newer Gruul chonky deck, whatever you want to call it. The kind of sticky big threats with Magus of the Moon for the free win and the usual Elf and Utopia Sprawl to ramp. Those are my 3 most hated archetypes right now, so right out of the gates we hit one of them. Not really what I wanted to see. We've got a clunker of a hand, too. Again, it's possible I should have mulliganed this. I just simply don't know. Okay, so they're going to main phase the map after a great deal of deliberation. Pretty strange to have the graveyard so full, specifically with these types, and still only have a 3-4 Goyf around. If our Goyf was a little bit bigger, well, how does this work? We make it 7 and then give it double strike. So we're getting pretty close to one-shotting them. I don't know what they can cast for 2 here. It could just be a 1/1 Walking Ballista. They're dismembering. Jeez, that's bad. That's so bad. I didn't think they had this. I didn't really read them for it. Well, you got us. Okay, we're in a whole lot of trouble now. You can see how different this would have been if we had opened on Inquisition rather than had the tension between Inquisition versus Goyf on turn 2. So our best draw is still another Tarmogoyf, I think. Kroxa's looking pretty good right now, too. Obviously, we've got a lot of dead 1-drops in the face of this Shadow. Or rather, in the face of this Chalice. Ask and ye shall receive. It's Kroxa time. Kroxa time. This guy's our path to victory. Still pretty awkward, though, because we're just doing nothing else besides this. We can't afford to crack Peatland because we need to just escape Kroxa repeatedly. None of our other cards really do anything. We could cast Inquisition into Chalice to get another card in the yard and diversify for Tarmogoyf. I actually think I'm probably supposed to do that, simply because it's not doing anything else anyway. Yep. Yes, I checked your Chalice. You remembered the trigger. Good stuff. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other reason to keep that around. I don't think so, not that I can think of, not main deck. So Kroxa was a great draw. Problem is, of course, the opponent's still on Tron. The Thought-Knot Seer we don't care too much about. Our hand is very redundant. Reality Smasher could be a little scarier as far as racing us goes. Gotta fade like a Scavenger Grounds. That would be a disaster. We'd just lose if they had that. Oh no! Why do I call the shots? That's disgusting. Alright, well. Eldrazi Tron. All kinds of fun, right? Just making 7 mana on turn 3 at no card disadvantage. Main deck hate for everything. Playing all these Eldrazi. Cheating them out ahead of curve in multiple different ways. You can see why I hate the deck. Gotta draw another Kroxa now. Instead, it's Inquisition. Alright, time to cash in Peatland. We're getting desperate. Kroxa number 2, followed by a land next turn. Alright. Once Upon a Time. I guess I'm going to cast this now in case we draw a land. Like, in case the only thing good we have off it is a land. This is worse against another Thought-Knot Seer, but we're far enough behind that we kind of have to take lines like this. I guess we just take Tarmogoyf here, try to rebuild. It is our best threat. It's not locked out by Chalice. But we're pretty done for here. How are we going to want to sideboard against this deck? Engineer, Rider seem decent. Pillage seems good. Oof seems potentially good. Trophy, K-Command, Ghost Quarter. As always, when we're on mid-range against Eldrazi Tron, we've got a lot of playable cards, but they all just seem so medium. Okay, Chalice on 2. What do we have now? They already took away our Gore Clan Rampager. We probably just scoop to this, right? Let's check out our collection. Entire deck is locked out besides Street Raves, Baubles, and Dismembers. Good game. Fun and skill testing game. Now, throughout this entire league, guys, as I stated at the beginning, I'm brand new to Shadow. I'm not good. It's possible, like, my turn 1 sequencing was off there. It's possible we should have mulliganed. I don't know. But that's not going to stop me from complaining about Eldrazi Tron. That I can tell you. So anyway, Inquisition is definitely a weak card relative to Thoughtseize here. Renin 6 is pretty low impact. I'm not seeing much else I don't like. Assume we're supposed to leave the TBRs in. I guess Grizzly Salvage and Gore Clan Rampager could always be, like, potential cuts. I don't think you're supposed to cut Street Wraith here, but again, I don't really know. Let's begin by getting Could even leave in 1 Inquisition. We'll get at least those 3 cards out. What are our 3 best cards? I'm going to play Trophy. I don't know if I want to play GQ when I'm siding out Ren and 6 against this deck. I kind of think I don't. I think I'm going to go for like the hate cards on a stick, so alongside Trophy we'll go with Oof, Plague Man. I think I want to play Murderous Rider too, so let's just make 1 more cut, run it back. I think on the play we will play without Inquisitions, be a little more threat-oriented and racing-oriented. Seems totally fine to me. Oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot to play our Pillages. I'm probably going to do this a lot today. So let's cut Ren and 6s altogether. And maybe we should cut something mana-hungry, because we're bringing in some higher curve stuff, and we're not playing with the Ren and 6 to hit our land drops. So I'm just going to cut probably Gore Clan here. Could be totally wrong. Submit deck. Could be totally wrong. Submit deck. That's how we do it when we're in unfamiliar territory. We're just having fun. We're just seeing if we can steal a win against the Eldrazi Nemesis, the Eldrazi Menace. We hate Eldrazi Tron on this channel. It's my official position. Alright. Jeez, could we get a little bit of love? Thoughtseize into Goyf is 2 of the best things this deck does in this matchup. So for that reason, I'm tempted to keep it, but keeping a 5-lander in an 18-land deck is completely loose and completely terrible. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep. Like, this is our perfect 1-2 punch. We just have to get lucky for the subsequent top decks. So it's actually possible to get basic Swamp here maybe, but I don't really, like, if they play a random one of Ghost Quarter and end up having the freedom to use it, I don't want to get wastelanded. So I guess we're taking 5, and we are a Shadow deck after all. We didn't get to use them in Game 1, but we gotta remember we're a Shadow deck. So they kept a 2-lander, both mines. I think we are priced into taking Expedition Mat, but Dismember, Matter Reshaper are 2 good early cards I'd love to take. And obviously these payoffs are pretty unbeatable, but let's take the map here. Did they just drew another one? Okay. Okay, that's how this first one's gonna go. That's how this first one's gonna be. Alright, I'm gonna begin by bobbling myself here. Nurturing Peatland. We need to shuffle that away. And I think I'm supposed to play the Goyf out into the Dismember. Because, like, if we don't draw more threats anyway, we're not winning, and this is going to give them a tension between map and Dismember. Okay, Street Wraith. Interesting. Can we potentially blow out this Dismember? We have land, artifact, sorcery. We cycle, we become a 4/5. They Dismember, Goyf becomes a 5/6. Okay, they're going to play out the mine. We're going to cycle. Got him. Well, there's our feel-good moment of the league, my friends. And we got another Goyf where that came from. Okay, feels pretty good. Hey, whatever else happens, we got a nice feel-good blowout on Etron. Makes me so happy. If you could see my smiling face right now. Okay, they got Forest. They got good old Reshaper to try to hold the line here. I guess we're supposed to leave that uncracked in case we draw push. I guess we should bobble them, see what they're going to draw here. Urza's Tower. Okay. So, creature also gains trample, double strike and trample, so the thing to do is to pump the one they block, I guess. I haven't really used this card before. Aha. Okay, cool. That is how that works. And that's the game. Well, Thoughtseize into Goyf was exactly what the doctor ordered. We were fortunate enough to draw more action off the top, and that's exactly why we kept that on the strength of that, as I say, 1-2 punch. So everything over here is at least feasible, including bringing back an Inquisition on the draw. But I simply don't know. Simply don't know if we're supposed to be on any of these plans here. I'm used to Kolaghan's command being a little bit less than impressive against Eldrazi Tron, but maybe leaving it out was a mistake on this. Maybe we need to respect Chalice on 1 a lot more is what I'm trying to say than I normally would on Jund. So to that end, I'm going to try to bring back one Inquisition and this K command. What should we cut? What should we cut? Well, I'm going to cut kind of a filler card in the form of Grizzly Salvage, and then I don't know what the other cut should be. What is our weakest card remaining to us? This is where my lack of experience comes in. I don't know whether it's better on average to trim like 1 Traverse, 1 Once Upon a Time, 1 Street Wraith, something like this. I think I'm going to trim 1 Traverse just because it does seem like the most easily disrupted card against them of the cards that I'm regarding in my naivete and my noobness as extraneous, but I mean, you guys can let me know all you want in the comments. I will read them. I will appreciate any sideboarding advice and take it under advisement, but at the same time, this is not a deck I'm, like, trying to learn, so it's not like we'll probably be doing this again anytime soon. It's a solid hand. Unfortunately, opponent is keeping a 7. I think they've had Tron land into map every single game, keeping 7, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty rough from a deck, again, that isn't really dedicated to doing it, right? So, are we supposed to... I could see bobbling ourselves here to get a pseudo-scry, decide which fetch land to play, but I could also see maybe saving our fetch land to push something if we can, but I think I'm going to opt for the scry. Alright. Bloodstained Mire is on the top of our library. I don't think we want to draw the 3rd land right now. I think we kind of want to draw a Shadow or a Goyf, or more Disruption. So let's shuffle that away, get a Blood Crypt, take another 5 to Thoughtseize, see what the opponent's up to. They do have a 2-lander, and they don't have Tron rolled up. They do have Chalice on 1, which we kind of probably have to take here. I guess so. Reshaper, Thought Knot, Ugin. I mean, it's a scary hand, but We'll take the Chalice. Just can't afford to have our shadows locked out. Alright, we got Dismembers. They're embarrassing against Reshaper, but they're pretty good against Thought-Knot. And that Blast Zone does some work against our deck, too. Okay, Kroxa. Having drawn the third land. Yeah, it's Kroxa time. Let's save that fetch land in case we need the Revolt. And now we want to draw a fourth land because we'll be revolting Kroxa, or escaping Kroxa, rather, pretty soon if we hit it. It can't be a forest, though. That is one non-bow I noticed in the deck building. I don't know if it's still just necessary to play forest because you got so many green cards in the deck. That's probably true. But it's tough to play only 18 lands and trying to produce BBRR even when one of your lands is a forest. That's a little tough. Alright, so Kroxa takes care of Ugin. It's possible here that opponent will tutor an Eldrazi Temple and then play Thought-Knot, which I think would be pretty good for us if they do. More beatable than them working toward Tron. But they get Urza's Mine, so I'm not correct about that prediction. Okay, I mean, we just gotta fade Tron. There's the Reshaper. Let's draw something great. We have the fourth land. Okay, wouldn't call it great, but it'll get us Kroxa back next turn unless they can do something about it, so we'll take it. Assuming, yeah, so if we crack a fetch land and cast one spell this turn, we'll be able to escape Kroxa next turn. Yeah, I'm gonna push. I mean, feels bad. Once Upon a Time goes to their hand. Okay, that's one of the less impactful hits they could have had. They do have a fourth land. It's a tower. Here comes Thought-Knot. We're going to let it resolve, and then after it resolves, we'll dismember it. Getting pretty low on life, but I think it's all worth it to get Kroxa out on curve. This is some hesitation here. I mean, maybe they take a TBR because we have the redundancy of Dismember. I don't really think so. Yeah, I was going to say, I think you still just have to take a Dismember there. But they thought about it. Okay. We find a land. Not great. We find a Tarmogoyf, pretty decent. But we gotta just go on the Kroxa plan right now. I think I'm gonna run out Peatland here, even though it doesn't conceal info as well. It's unclear whether we would prefer to take one life or two right here. So they have creatures, planeswalkers, and artifacts. So we'll get rid of our artifact. And we have an instant and a creature in our hand. So let's try to keep land sorcery around. We can only keep one or the other. Guess we'll keep sorcery because we might crack Peatland. Kroxa and Goyf both get swept up by Blast Zone. We gotta remember that. Opponent in the tank. Wondering what to do in the face of Kroxa, the Titan of Death's Hunger. Alright, they do have land number 5. It's their third tower. And it's a Chalice on 2. Yikes, yeah, that's actually really good right now. But we're just going to draw Shadow. Alright, we draw Inquisition. Not the best. Because whatever they've got in hand is going to get got by Kroxa, right? So let's crack Peatland. Find another Kroxa. Okay. They had a bunch of Once Upon a Times in hand, huh? Chalice, super annoying here. There is a point at which we can start casting stuff into it to escape Kroxa again, but it's certainly going to give them time to top deck some bombs here, which is just what we don't want to see. Kroxa probably has them on a 2-turn clock, because alone he hits for 12, and you've got to imagine at least one of the 2 times they will have either a land or nothing in hand to pitch to him. No, they immediately top decked a Smasher. Wow. Could that draw be any better? I doubt it. Kinda doubt it. Alright, let's draw a Shadow. Finally, we're a Shadow deck, we gotta draw our Shadow sometime. Once Upon a Time, literally just like all dead stuff. Just all an entire hand of dead stuff. Misery, guys, it's misery. Well, nothing we can do here. Besides hang back and try to block, but even if they brick, they can zone us in 2 turns and win. So we need to draw. Even drawing it out to Chalice next turn is probably going to be too slow, because all of our outs are 3-drops, I believe. Maybe one. Now Trophy gets countered. Yeah, I think they're all 3-drops. Yep, so we're just going to lose to this Chalice of the Void. I mean, the game would be well and truly over if they didn't have this. Okay, they take our Goyf. You know, honestly, that could be okay for us, but we've got to draw Shadow right now. Another dead card. Cool. We're going to say go, and maybe they'll psych themselves out. Maybe they'll not want to play into removal, and they'll give another turn. Yeah, this is insane. Kind of a feel-bad way to lose, because we were really in this game. You know, it's probable that my lack of experience will lose us a game at some point in this league. I don't think I've lost us any percentage points here, although maybe I'm missing something. So it feels bad to lose to the variance of this completely stupid deck when we already got a lot going against us, right? But opponent clearly a little bit psyched out. I kind of want to just move on, so part of me just wants to scoop anyway, but at this point we can. I don't even know if we have outs anymore. Like, Shadow dies to zone. But we've come this far. We'll make the opponent attack. Or we'll make the opponent time out, as the case may be. Sorry, guys. Feel free to jump ahead if this decision is not as thrilling to you as it is to the opponent right now. Aha, here we go. We've got a Sign of Life. Okay, good game, well played. Eldrazi Tron, man, I can't wait for Once Upon a Time to be banned. It's the one card that... and hey, you know, I'm glad we're getting to use it on the channel before it does. I think it will be banned on Monday. That's my prediction. I'm glad that for the sake of posterity, we do get to play it once on the channel before it does get banned. But I will not miss it in Modern. The fact that Eldrazi Tron, of all things, that is playing it when they're a totally colorless deck, they're now playing like a basic forest, maybe two sometimes to accommodate it, that's just a sign that the card's just a disaster. It's in all of the most busted decks in the format, and admittedly in some decks that I think are healthier, too. You know, they benefit from it as well, but Once Upon a Time, it's not the most feel-bad card to play against, but I think it's the one that has to go probably above all others because of what it enables. All the Primeval Titan decks, Eldrazi Tron, plus a whole host of other things that are not as egregious as those two. Looking forward to it myself. Yeah, we truly didn't have many outs left there. Anyway, on to round 2. We've got a ton of redraws plus Once Upon a Time, so even though we don't and we have Kroxa, so I'm gonna definitely keep this. I don't know whether it's correct to Wraith first and then Once Upon a Time or vice versa. I guess just from my layman's perspective, it makes sense to Wraith first because you can't control the Wraith draw, but you can control the Once Upon a Time draw, so maybe you want max info off of the Wraith to sculpt your hand with Once Upon a Time. Triple Bauble, okay. Tarmogoyf or Nurturing Peatland, I don't know. Frankly. I'm probably supposed to take the Goyf. Yeah, Peatland doesn't make red. Let's take the Goyf. Let's play 3 Mishra's Baubles and say go. We should probably play our land, too. I actually wouldn't have been surprised if I skipped past that part, because I'm not used to all these 0 mana plays. Thankfully, we did not. Alright. In the upkeep, we find the opponent on Simic Growth Chamber. Okay. And another Once Upon a Time. Well, this is exactly what I just said. We're against 2 big mana decks, 2 Once Upon a Time decks. I'm sure our matchup is okay here, but I'm just sick of playing them, aren't you guys? Alright, they got double bounce land in hand, and they got the Amulet. Well, well. Well, well. What a surprise, what a surprise. You know, I need these people to throw me a bone here. I'm new to this deck. I need a handicap. They got Primeval Titan coming off the top. Okay, well, save us. Top deck. Okay, we have not hit a red land in 3 draws. We've instead drawn Basic Forest. Pretty bad. Now, granted, Tarmogoyf is a fine play. Arguably our better play than Kroxa here anyway. But it would be really nice to just know that we had a red land available, because right now all we're doing is jamming Goyfs. And while that's pretty good, in the face of turn 1 Amulet and the known quantities of double bounce land and Primeval Titan plus a full grip beyond that, it's unlikely to be enough without some disruption. So, the Basic Forest was the worst land we could have possibly drawn there, because not only is it not red, it also hasn't grown the Goyf and does not let us double spell if we draw, like, I don't know. If we had a red-black land or any black land, we could conceivably fetch Shock, Thoughtseize, Shadow, something like this. They have Azusa too, so there's absolutely nothing they don't have. We are going to lose. into another Once Upon a Time. Finding ... What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Castle Garenbrig. Okay, well. We know what's happening next turn, don't we? We have drawn a land. Okay, so we go to 14. You can't quite get a shadow down this turn. Yeah, we still can't double spell because of the forest. Pretty rough. So what is our best play in light of that? So their hand is one chamber, Titan, Garenbrig. I just don't think Kroxa's Disruption matters in the face of this nut draw, so I'm just going to play another Goyf. Grow the Goyf before damage. Really not going to get us there, though. Okay, Titan, do your thing. So seeing all the redraws in the opening hand, you know, one classic question that people ask if they're newer to Magic or to Modern, I covered this in one of my recent theory videos, like, once they start getting a feel for, like, how good cantrips are, like, if you staple draw a card to any card, it becomes, basically playable. So then a lot of people, therefore, ask, and it's a good question, why doesn't every deck play 4 Mishra's Bauble? Why doesn't every deck play 4 Monomorphos if they can make red or green naturally? Doesn't that give you a virtual 56 or 52 card deck? But the problem, among other things, you know, playing around tax effects, getting hosed by Chalice on 0, for example, things like that. Beyond that, like, the redraw is good if the front half of the card that doesn't draw is accomplishing something. But if it's not accomplishing anything, if it has no synergies with your deck, then you don't really know what your opening... Like, we didn't really know what our opening hand was going to do. We had a Wraith and 2 Baubles, I believe, and then we drew a third one. And, you know, we could have drawn a bunch of Thoughtseizes, and that would have been great. Instead, we drew kind of a mix of decent stuff, but not enough to stop a Titan nut draw. So that's, like, while we're getting comboed off on, I thought to point that out. That's an interesting object lesson in... You know, it's not even a downside of Bauble or Street Wraith, it's just, like, the reason why they're not an automatic free roll in every deck. Once again, I'm tempted to scoop for the sake of the content, but I guess we're making them execute this. The Summoner's Pacted for a Dryad. They are frozen here with Titan about to be cast. I don't know what's going on. I've already filled up this space as much as I can with that aside about Mishra's Bauble. So we're just going to hang out and see what goes on. While we're waiting, I guess, you know, you guys can let me know what your predictions are. Like I said, I think Once Upon a Time will be banned on Monday. And I'm trying to get all my donation leagues in the queue done before Monday because, of course, the lists were designed with this current meta in mind. If I don't quite get to all of them, I'll of course reach out to the supporters and say, hey, do you want to update this with respect to the new bans or what? But I'm going to try to get them all played. But I'm recording this midweek before the bans that are due on Monday. And I think Once Upon a Time will be banned. I wouldn't be surprised if they do other things, but I think that one's got to go. Really, really hope it's Veil of Summer's time to go as well. The card is just egregious. As for Pioneer, I'm going to start playing Pioneer again once a ban or two happens with Mono Black aggro, but I don't exactly know what it's going to be. I assume something from Inverter gets hit, and that's probably all I'm really qualified to state. Anyway, guys, you can let me know, and we'll find out soon enough. Okay, they did it. Yeah, modern. Yeah, modern. Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, we kind of drew the wrong half of the deck there in some ways. Again, our progression wasn't bad, but they had the nut draw. We needed the nut draw of disruption to keep up with that. We were not so fortunate. So, we can consider cards like that. Ashiok is going to be our best card. Pillage we definitely play. Murderous Rider could see play here. It's probably about all I'm going to go for out of the side. Big question is going to be what to cut. I think I'm cutting pushes here. Yes, they hit a couple things, but I have the suspicion that most of our other cards are going to be better and that we're going to have a lot of cards we want to bring in. Once again, Ren and 6 looking pretty low impact here. I think I'm going to cut all 3, but we'll consider keeping 1. Let's definitely get the Ashioks and the Pillages in here. Everything else races pretty well or sets up fairly well. Grizzly Salvage is slow. Yeah, so why don't we probably just go full race mode, cut these cards, and bring in Ghost Quarter, Assassin's Trophy, and either Kolaghan's Command or Murderous Rider, and I don't know which one I think I prefer here. That's a bit of a close call. I think maybe it's going to be K-Command on the play, Rider on the draw, if nothing else changes, because tagging an Amulet with a 3-mana Shatter is only realistic on the play. Damage will have been done most times on the draw. So I'm going to go like that. And we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens to us at the hands of Amulet Titan. Well, our poor mid-range strategy is running into just some nonsense, some Once Upon a Time big mana decks. Ren and 6 not shining. Kroxa's still good, though. Kroxa's always good, basically, in almost any matchup, I think. I'm very, very high on the card. Okay, we have Dismembered to kill an early whatever. We have a turn 2 Goyf. We have a Shadow. So the hand races. It doesn't disrupt much, though. I'm not sure if we're supposed to mulligan to disruption. I simply don't know. So I'm going to keep it. We could also just blindly Street Wraith into disruption. Street Wraith into Thoughtseize would be amazing here. But I think on the play, a hand like this is acceptable? Question mark? Alright, cycle the Wraith. Find another Goyf. Okay. I don't know what to do with my lands here. Am I supposed to fetch? I think I'm actually going to conceal that, just on the off chance they go turn 1 Bojuka Bog. It's like a strange corner case thing, but I don't see any major reason that we have to fetch right now. So we'll just shock and pass. We can dismember a Sakura Tribe Scout if they have one. They'll, once again, kept a 7 with Once Upon a Time. That's just kind of what our opponents are doing this league. And they've got the Amulet. Dang. We have another Shadow. So, we're getting there in terms of our threats. But they've got a really fast start too, it seems. We have like one or two too many threats and not enough Teamer Battle Rages. You know, like if we're just racing and not disrupting, we obviously want the TBRs involved. If they've got another Azusa, man, I mean, looks like they've got either Azusa or Dryad. They're both pretty much bad news. Kinda hope it's just Dryad. It's Azusa. It's Azusa. At least it's a dismember target, you know? There's something to be said for that. Dismember her, go to 9, play double shadow, try to have a turn 4 kill. This is looking exactly like what they did in game 1. Did they just have an algorithm that sculpts them the perfect hand? Holy crap, Dryad too. Dryad too? Scout too? Okay, well, let's hope they don't have a payoff. I guess Dryad is the card to hit now with this Dismember. We have drawn our third shadow. Just another, like, decent but unbalanced hand. I think we've been pretty unlucky with our progressions overall in that we haven't had the right mix. We've had, like, a bunch of value stuff, not enough threats, or we've had all threats and not enough interaction or pump. Or we've just been locked out by a Chalice on two. So I think that this deck definitely has a ton of progressions that can stand up to what our opponents are doing. But our opponents are doing a lot of really strong things, and we're kind of not quite keeping up. Okay, Azusa making all the mana. But is the payoff there? Uh-huh. Sure seems to be. Well, you know, frankly, guys, these back-to-back, you know, identical Titan progressions, nearly identical, are beating, you know, almost any deck in the format. Yeah, maybe a Thoughtseize could have turned it around, but that's really about it. I don't know what our outs are now. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what they get. We'll see what they do. But yeah, I mean, both games, they keep 7. They have turn 1 Amulet. They have turn 0 Once Upon a Time. They have turn 2 Azusa and Dryad, I think, both games. And they have turn 3 Titan both games. Maybe in game 1 it was turn 3 Pact for Dryad, then Titan. So maybe their game 1 was a little bit less crazy than this one. Either way, certified nut draws. Opponent not the most practiced with Titan, which is fine. You know, I'm never, when I say things like that, I'm never trying to throw shade at the opponent. I'm trying to acknowledge my viewers. I'm trying to say, hey guys, I'm here with you. I'm waiting with you for something to happen. So my apologies, my friends. I hope you are enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying the change of pace, even though we're kind of getting smacked this league. I don't feel as though my play has been a major issue, but if anything's a major issue, it's probably my sense of what opening hands to keep. But again, these progressions we're facing beat most modern decks most of the time, no matter what the other modern deck is doing. Big mana, now that it has all this speed and consistency, big mana has that knack, and it really shouldn't. I think that these qualities of the big mana archetype are the real elephant in the room in Modern, in terms of why Modern is constantly feeling unbalanced. People are constantly asking for bans, why the meta trends in certain ways. Like, I really do think big mana puts a lot of pressure on mid-range and control decks to, usually lose to big mana, but when we don't, we have to dedicate a ton of sideboard slots. Like, I feel pretty good against this deck on Jund, but we've had Kroxa added to the mix, which helps a lot with that, and I'm playing 6 to 7 sideboard cards against it, Like, that's officially warping our sideboard. So, of course, there's combo and aggro and mid-range mirrors and control and prison to all contend with. So when control and mid-range, which should be kind of like the police decks of the format in certain ways, when they just get crushed by these big mana decks, and when the big mana decks are fast and consistent enough to outrace aggro, things get sent into a tailspin. We're seeing it right now. Like, I firmly believe this is too much for Modern. Like, what we're beholding, it's a little bit too much for Modern to handle. Yeah. I'm not complaining just for the sake of complaining. I'm just narrating while our opponent is taking their solitaire turn over there. So, all right, let's see what Titan gets. I guess I'm supposed to be trading off here. Okay, they did it. Well, that was an entertaining and skill testing game. I'll tell you what. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, I just kind of was talking and didn't piece together that they had pacted for a second Dryad. I registered it as I was narrating, but of course that allows them to go off with Valakut. All right, guys, we're getting smoked. What are you going to do? We've still got time to turn it around. The league is still young, but as I've said a few times now, I don't think this is a failing of our deck, or even maybe not that much, at least, of my piloting, maybe some. But those were some nasty, nasty progressions from our opponent. Like I said at the beginning of the league, we don't need that. We need a break. We need a little help. We need a little bit of a handicap here compared to normal. We don't need to be facing down the nut draws from the top 2 decks of the format. That's right now I would consider those the top 2 decks in the format. So when you run into number 1 and number 2 and they do that, we are in some heat. We're in the boiling water. Okay, so this hand is going to shape up to a pretty early traverse. It doesn't have any interaction besides Dismember, but if they give us something to Dismember, we can get traverse like right away. So I do suppose we'll keep it. It's got a lot to like, but again, if there's one thing I'm going to do wrong more than anything, even more than sideboarding, it's probably this. It's probably deciding what a good opening hand is and is not, and also, maybe how to sequence with things like Bauble versus Wraith versus Once Upon a Time. We're against a few slow-playing opponents, too. That doesn't really help our cause, If we're going to get smoked, we're going to get smoked. But let's get a move on, guys. Come on. What's the holdup? Okay, there we go. Oh, my God. Urza's Tower Expedition map. Dude, get out of here with this stuff. And this is, I feel so bad for our supporter here, Steven, because, like, we want to be against non-big mana decks for the mid-range inclusion, like the Kroxas and Ren and Sixes, to really shine. Again, Kroxa's still good against big mana, but we would be better off with like a straight 4-color Shadow deck or a straight Kroxa Shadow deck in the face of this. So, what I'm trying to say is let's not write off the spice quite yet, just on the basis of this, because we're facing some stupid matchups, frankly. I guess we're gonna bobble ourselves. See whether we want the top card or not. We're looking for a threat. Tarmogoyf's on the top. Alright. Good enough. Thoughtseize, are you Classic Tron or are you another Eldrazi menace? Classic Tron. On a 2-lander, keeping star plus 3 payoffs. I guess we're, like, let's see. We're pretty soft to all the payoffs. Wormcoil, definitely. Yeah, we're soft to all of them. We're really soft to Wormcoil. I'm just gonna take Star and hope they don't Tron us. So we've drawn our Goyf. If we draw Shadow, we can do something. We can maybe get the Shadow down, but we haven't. We've drawn another land, so let's just get our Goyf down. Traverse is going to be live next turn. Can Traverse for a Shadow and then play Kroxa is probably going to be the line. Okay, opponent getting that power plant. And they say go. Okay, we found a Shadow naturally, so I'd rather play it than tutor for it. I guess we're going to lead on Kroxa here. Could grow our Goyf. Little awkward. We'd like a second green here, but I guess we kind of just obviously gotta get black here. And they have a Ghost Quarter, so yeah, let's just get Blood Crypt. Also, we of course just want to grow Shadow. Okay, so is a turn 5 kill going to be good enough? Maybe. They're going to GQ themselves to get Forest and to play Sylvan Scrying. So turn 2 kill is not going to be, or the turn 5 kill is not going to be good enough. They're going to get to play Ugin, but we've drawn Thoughtseize. Okay. I think I'm going to Traverse first, just to see if there's anything I'm not thinking of that can win us the game right now. Alright, we can get a 4th land for Kroxa. Gore Clan Rampager needs red-green to cast, is that right, for Blood Rush? Yes, so we can't do that. So if we Thoughtseize, we'll go to 6 if we get a Street Wraith to cycle. Let's think about this closely. We'll go to 4. That means we're putting 13 damage across. It's not good enough. Do we want to just get... What if we get another land? We could get a fetch land, we could fetch and shock for Stomping Ground, and then we could traverse again. That would put us to 5. We Thoughtseize down to 3. Shadow is hitting for 10. It's still not lethal. So what if we do all that and get Gore Clan Rampager? That would make... I'm sorry I'm stumbling over this, but it's all pretty new to me. Then we couldn't traverse, but let's say we fetch Shock down to 5. We Thoughtseize down to 3. Shadow is a 10-10 plus Gore Clan. That's lethal, right? I'm not messing this up? Okay. Oh, yes, I did, because we're not going to have green for Gore Clan after all this. So, I mean, in a way, that was kind of free. But in a way, it's just kind of spinning our wheels. But getting the 4th land is actually pretty fine here. Just because we can escape Kroxa next turn. Alright, now we'll Thoughtseize before we do anything else. So I think we have to take Ugin and then try to beat Wormcoil using Dismember. Oh, we just grew the Goyf too. Sweet. Well, we're going to put him to 1. Oh, is this lethal if we cycle Street Wraith now? Now can we traverse for a Wraith and win? This is just so new to me, guys. I'm sorry if this was more obvious. Yeah. Alright, guys, we did Shadow things. That one felt great. It was a bit of a learning curve for me on camera. Never done anything like that before, but we found lethal. Maybe there isn't a more efficient way to do it, but we put together that T4 kill. That's what we're talking about. That's the type of thing that this deck does. And yeah, I mean, there's lots of moving pieces, of course, very complicated stuff. Between Kroxa and Goyf, growing them with our discard, plus all the... setting up Shadow. It's a lot to think about, but we did manage to get there. Ashiok is reasonable against Tron, but I suspect that it's not as good of a fit here as it is in a classic BGX midrange deck in the matchup. So I'm going to consider it, but I'm probably not. I think I like these cards better. I definitely like Pillage better. And Murderous Rider seems okay. Looks good. So those are the ones to consider. Let us remove, once again, pushes. I understand that we can loop Ghost Quarter with Ren and 6. Maybe we leave in 1 Ren and 6 to curve out and for that purpose, but another low-impact matchup for Ren. To be fair to Steven, he did say that there were a couple flex slots. One of them, his first draft was a 1 of Rider in the main deck. He said the 3 slots that are flex or could be changed were the Rider, which he did, moved to the sideboard, the Rampager, and the 3rd Ren and 6. So even though he wants the mid-range plan, he even acknowledges that the 3rd Ren might be overkill, but he just loves this card so much that we went with it. But worth noting that even if you do want to commit to the mid-range plan, maybe 3 Ren is too many for this deck. In any case, I'll once again consider cutting this Grizzly Salvage. I think it's just too important to race. What does it look like if we just shove all those cards in here? We still get to play our 1 of Ren. Are we missing the Rider or an Ashiok or the Salvage more than anything that is left over? I guess we just probably cut Dismembers. I have no idea if they're going to bring in, Thought Knot against our deck. So I'm probably going to cut Dismembers until I see a reason to leave them in. So why don't we play... I still don't really have much faith in Ashiok. We'll play without the Grizzly Salvage, but we'll try one of Ashiok. I don't know how good it is. It's definitely pretty bad on the draw, but if the game gets weird, it could help get us there. Opponent will mulligan. We have a pretty slow hand, but one that does have Pillage. Kroxa into Pillage is pretty good as far as slow hands are concerned. I'm going to keep. If they had kept 7, I would maybe feel pressured into mulling toward a Thoughtseize. But they don't want to mulligan too low against us, so it's not like I expect them to like aggressively mull to 4 and then beat us with a turn 3 Tron into payoff on a mull to 4, you know? That's not usually, like, they're usually looking for a functional, as powerful as possible, but they're willing to keep functional land and spell hands. But they do have Tron land in the map here, and we've found another do-nothing for the moment. I don't really think I'm supposed to traverse for a basic land here. Okay, they did roll up Tron here. Bad news for us. Okay, our Pillage is going to be too slow, but that trophy isn't. Cool. That was a nice draw. And that's our new plan. So mine is the one they played second. I guess that's the one we're supposed to hit after they search here. I suppose on their draw step is the time to do it. Cool. Trophy, a lifesaver here. We get to Pillage next turn, and we're obviously delaying a threat for a while, but it's not like we have a threat to play anyway, right? So, opponent plays that tower. They're going on the Cracking Eggs plan. Into Sylvan Scrying. Okay, well, they're doing it. Finding the missing mine. So we're going to pillage the tower here. Because that's the one they seem least likely to have a backup copy of. Okay, we are getting close to Delirium. In fact, if we lead on Kroxa, we'll be able to follow up with Traverse into Shadow. But they just keep drawing tutor effects. Man, that's brutal. Man, that's so rough. Ah, haha. Well, they have Tron with mega redundancy. Hate to see it. Okay, we get a star out of their hand, which is something. Guess we're just going to keep filling up the graveyard and keep losing as much life as possible here. Okay, is there anything we should get besides Shadow? You know what? We could have... Shoot. Ooh, we probably should have tutored just for Ghost Quarter. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. I just kind of got thrown off by the fact that they top decked their third land tutor effect of the game. Yeah, GQ could have kept him off Tron for another turn at least. And we, as long as they don't do something we can't recover from this turn, we can maybe do that next turn. There's a lot to be said for just going to get a shadow anyway, but clearly think Ghost Quarter was the move there. All right. I mean, we still could have got it there, but I don't think we're supposed to since we already made our land drop. Wormcoil Engine. Yikes. Pillage. Good draw. So what do we do here? We can traverse for GQ. Use it to break up Tron, use Pillage to kill Wormcoil. Then we could play defensively. Or we could... Yeah, I think we kind of have to kill... I guess we should open on a Traverse to see what we can... to take a good, hard look at what we have. Pillage is a great draw, though. We'll find a good way to use it here. All right. Goif is a 5/6, not big enough to outsize this. Murderous Rider is pretty nice at taking care of Wormcoil at parity, relative parity, but we have to break up Tron this turn. So once again, I think our move is probably just to get GQ, break up Tron, pillage the Wormcoil. Don't know how correct this is, but that's our move here. The land they played most recently was Tower. There's one tower and one mine in the yard. I guess we're hitting Tower on the draw step. I think if all else is equal, you want to hit a non-tower land, so if they have to use their other lands to assemble it, they have one fewer mana to work with, but they don't have tower, so we did it. We did all right. Okay. Ooh, Renin 6 GQ loop incoming. Is that better than playing Kroxa? Right now, probably. Yeah, I think we gotta do that, right? It's pretty awesome. Once again, we're going to do that on their draw step, this time hitting mine. I haven't run out of basics yet. And they have a replacement mine. Sending the worm at us. The Death Touch worm, of course. I'm just going to take it. Tarmogoyf, pretty nice. So let's just keep looping GQ for now. think we're supposed to hang back for one turn here. Like, the TBR makes it interesting, but between their lifelink and the prospect of dying on the crackback if they have a removal spell because we're down to 6, I like hanging back here. Aha! No more basics to get. They keep making land drops though, and they found a Thragtusk. Yeah, that's a scary one, and that's a reason that makes me happy we stayed back though, because we're winning the value game right now. We've got Kroxa coming. We're just gonna keep GQing them. We can do it main phase now because we know they don't have any more to get. So, gotta be Kroxa time. Let's make sure not to exile GQ. Let's get rid of pillage, these traverses, and then just some non-ghost quarter lands. Keeping the Goyf the same size. Ulamog goes down, sure. Yeah, I don't see any reason to be anything but super conservative right now with our attacks. I understand they can top deck like, what's it called? Oblivion Stone and wipe our board and then possibly out top deck us from there, but they have really good blocks between Death Touch and between the lifelink and between the Thragtusk making another body that I think we are supposed to. And we can start attacking with like just Kroxa next turn, that seems fine. But don't think we were supposed to have attacked at any point by now with Shadow or Goyf. Alright. I don't really want to go to 3. I think trading Goyf here is kind of necessary. We could also trade Kroxa and just buy it back, but we won't necessarily be able to. Yeah, I think going to 3 is loose. I will trade. Keep Stone Raining him. So because they forced a trade, I'm not as inclined to attack with Kroxa. I think I'm just going to hard cast Gore Clan Rampager, which is kind of a cool thing you don't always get to do, and once again remain ultra conservative. That's the concession. All right, guys, we beat a big mana deck, and we did it in a really oppressive way. We were also about to have Ren ult, so it would have been interesting to say whether we want to have infinite pillages and trophies versus infinite GQ loops. Would have been a good problem to have. There you go, guys. So that was worth the price of admission alone, I would say. And hey, you know, as much as I've said we have not seen the right matchups at all for Ren and 6, and the third Ren and 6, both Steven and I bet most people would agree, might be a bridge too far, might be one copy too many even for this project. Hey, we left in exactly one, we tutored up our Ghost Quarter, and we just won the game off the back of it. Pretty fun stuff for us. Not so fun for the opponent, but do we have pity on the big mana players? I don't know. You can guess what my thoughts are on that, but in all seriousness, good games well played, and we are on the board with our Jund Shadow hybrid. Love to see that. Hope you guys are having fun. We still haven't really done Shadow things, like we used our Shadow there to play defense for our Planeswalker, not against Tron. Not exactly an everyday occurrence, but there you go. And it's possible that a savvier player would have been in a different spot and not have had to do that. But I'm not a savvier player. I'm a first-time Shadow player. And hey, this is a good hand. We'll keep this. And I'm just doing my best. OP keeping 7 as well. Maybe it will be a non-big mana deck. Imagine that. What do you think? What are the odds? It's Amulet Titan. Okay. They got a 4-lander. They've got a bounce land. They've got Amulet Pact Dryad. So we can slow them down by taking Amulet. We can also slow them down and prevent like their more mid-rangey style acceleration and value with Dryad, or we can take the Summoner's Pact, let them have their ramp, and take away the payoff. I kind of think that we need to take away the Pact here, although if we draw subsequent discard spells, we will be punished for taking the Pact as opposed to taking an earlier play. Taking away Dryad is going to grow the Goyfs a lot, too. Granted, any of these things are going to grow the Goyf nicely enough. I mean, this is a classic damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. They have 5 mana. They're going to hit the 6th. They're just going to hit the 6th. I'm just going to take the Pact. I think we kind of have to there. We can definitely get punished for this. Like, one of the safer plays is just to take Amulet and just slow them down. Alright, so we found Bauble. We don't have the ability to control our own deck, so we're going to bauble the opponent, see what we're in for. They have another freaking Pact on the top. Sometimes we get so punished for our decisions, it's not even funny. So we are pretty much going to lose to that unless we draw a discard spell this turn. And we're getting 2 looks at it, but the first look is just showing another Goyf. They found a second Amulet, too. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is insanity, guys. This is the exact type of thing that we've been complaining about all league. You couldn't make this stuff up. They found second Amulet into Pact. Ha ha ha. What? So we need to discard right now. It has to be Thoughtseize. We obviously don't get it. Yeah, feels bad. I'm sure they're just able to kill us, but let's attack, make them do it. It has to specifically be Thoughtseize, because if we Inquisition, they'll... Oh no, Inquisition could have done it too, because they couldn't pay for the Pact having played Breeding Pool. And being left with only 2 lands on the field. But we missed our window. We just draw only lands and threats right now, it seems. I'd love if the opponent just blocked here for some reason. No such luck. Well, you know, we were putting together a turn 4 kill, potentially anyway. With the help of, like, a draw off the top, it's a turn 4 kill. But, and again, we're getting 2 looks at that with Nurturing Peatland, 2 looks at the TBR or whatever else, but the opponent's just gonna get us here. In fact, while they go off, I'm going to get up for just 1 moment. I'll be right back, guys. Enjoy the Amulet shenanigans. Okay, I'm back, and the opponent just landed the Titan, eh? Okay. Here he comes, and here comes some Valakut. Hellfire from the Molten Pinnacle. Oh no, Field of the Dead and Vesuva. What's Vesuva doing here? There's what we thought we were in for. Okay, bye-bye. Field of the Dead just for style points, I guess. Yeah, I've said everything that already can be said about these decks already in this league, so let's just sideboard and play game 2. When Once Upon a Time and whatever else gets banned on Monday, let this league stand as a testament to the urgent need for such action. So, how did we sideboard last time out? I think we were saying Ashiok and Pillage are our tier 1 sideboard cards, and then from there we're considering some mix involving GQ, Trophy, K-Command, Rider seems okay. Choke is kind of funny. Against Dryad. I think we're cutting all Wrenn and 6s, all Fatal Pushes. Let's get our GQ and our Trophy in here. Like K-Command on the play. I think that's what we said last time. K-Command on the play, Rider on the draw seems good. So what was our 61st cut? Was it just Grizzly Salvage? I do believe that was the case. I haven't got to use this card yet. Again, because we're against Big Mon every time. We're not really... Don't have the luxury of playing much of a setup game. Not really in attrition mode. And Grizzly Salvage is like an attrition card in this deck because we have Kroxa. It's not just like a 1-for-1 that has incidental value. Like, it can help you get card advantage by escaping Kroxa one more time than you otherwise would. Whether it be the first time, the second time, the third time, whatever. That's how I see it anyway, but I haven't gotten to see firsthand, right? Alright, can we get some nut draws of our own? Can we just crush this Amulet player with a bunch of Pillages and Ashioks and a quick clock? Well, we got Thoughtseize into Ashiok. We have Ghost Quarter to break up some scary stuff, and we've got Kolaghan's Command. This'll do. We'll keep. Sadly enough, we have Dismember due, so even if, it's Dryad time, we can kill that and protect our Ashiok from the beats. Seems like a good hand to me. Alright, they have a 5-lander with Summoner's Pact and Once Upon a Time. Easy Once Upon a Time here. We're already leaning heavily on Ashiok to win. Might as well double down on that and plan to lock the Pact out. They've got all the utility, and hey there, Goyf. That's what we were missing, was a threat. Okay, guys. Well, we're drawing well. Opening on a decent hand, drawing well. It's what we asked for. Let's hope that we can do this throughout the rest of the league. Salvage a decent result here. Kroxa, sure. You know, I could have considered actually playing Kroxa this turn instead of Ashiok, in which case I would have wanted to do that first main phase to try to grow Goyf. But they'd probably just pitch a land. You already have one of those in the yard. So I could still play Kroxa here. What should we do? What should we do? I think I'm still just going to get Ashiok down. It's mana efficient, among other things. And are we supposed to mill ourselves because we are a Kroxa and Traverse deck? Probably. It could shrink Goyf, but on average it should grow it. Okay, stayed neutral. Ah, we mill a Pillage? Lame. Guess we couldn't cast it yet anyway. Ghost Quarter, not a great land as far as escaping Kroxa goes, is it? Alright, so I think we're now gonna mill them. Then play Kroxa. We could mill ourselves again. Maybe we're supposed to. Whatever, I'll mill myself. We'll see how it goes. Goyf's now a 5/6. Well, that's pretty good. We got another Kroxa in the yard, too. Okay, down goes Summoner's Pact. You can't even really say that GQ is killing us because we sided it in as a spell, not as a land. You know, so it's not really losing us our ability to do Kroxa shenanigans here. This counts as a spell. And it's a spell that helped us cast Ashiok on curve, so it's pretty good. Are we supposed to shock here? Or are we supposed to get red there, in case we draw Pillage? I don't know the answer to either of these questions. I'll shock. Whatever. Thoughtseize. Yeah. They don't even have Veil of Summer mana up. Another Pact. Wow, so they're not really doing anything. And they have another basic, they have that basic forest in hand. I think I'm supposed to GQ here, but maybe that's not true. Because K-Command Shock gives us a 2-turn clock here. But they have Castle Garenbrig in hand, and they have 4 mana on the field, and they can draw a Titan if we just don't do anything. We can always K-Command for lethal next turn. Okay, they found Amulet. Play Castle. That should be GG. Shatter your Amulet. Shock you. All right, we disrupted very heavily and put together a T6 kill off a single Tarmogoyf without seeing any pump spells. That was a class. That was like a more mid-range progression, of course. We can go a lot faster than that, but we didn't. And a lot of it was not optimal, but Ashiok locking down the packs was just what won us the game there. We had Dismember again as a safety valve for them finding a more mid-rangey creature, and we did enough disruption, and they had enough lack of acceleration that, like, Titan was never a risk of resolving before we won, given how we GQ'd them, right? So, a nice win against Amulet Titan. However, it will be tougher on the draw on average. We talked about wanting to bring in maybe Murderous Rider over Kolaghan's Command on the draw. Is that still something we are considering? Like, Rider just fights through a lot of their stuff, whereas K-Command mainly is a moderate utility card that can shatter an amulet. And again, shattering an amulet's worse on the draw. But K-Command was pretty cool there. And it has extra utility if we're planning to mill ourselves with Ashiok like we did there, so I'm just going to run it back. I think I like Dismember better than Rider overall, as far as removal goes. Just got to be able to cast it earlier than, and for cheaper than 3. Well, you know, despite our struggles here, guys, I genuinely am having a lot of fun here, navigating this deck for the first time. Opponent will mulligan, we've got all the discard. No threat. We just can't get, like, a balanced and really strong shadow progression, it seems, but this is a definite keep. I don't think we can pass up Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Kroxa, 2 lands, a redraw. And TBR is a good card in the matchup once we find a threat. I haven't been taking many mulligans at all. It's possible I should be mulling more aggressively, but I think there's basically been incentive to keep, like, every hand we've kept almost, if not literally. Alright, Arboreal Grazer. I hate this card and always will. I always will. That's just how it is. We found Shadow. Nice. So, my only question is whether to use Inquisition or Thoughtseize here. I think I will begin by bobbling the opponent. They have a Summoner's Pact. That actually makes me want to Thoughtseize here, because Thoughtseize will hit a wider range of things, gives us more flexibility of choice, and we know we can Inquisition the Pact next turn if we want to. It might mess up our sequencing a little bit, but I think whiffing is worse. Or potentially whiffing is worse, so I will Thoughtseize here. Okay, another Pact. We find Dismember, sure. Rot Farm, Bouncing Forest. Once Upon a Time. Yeah, I think the responsible thing to do here is to Inquisition, but it means we've got a pretty inefficient turn. But let's just get that packed. While the getting's good, right? While the getting's good. Probably supposed to cast it off this peatland, though, to lose another life. And we can Dismember the Grazer, and I might, just to get Shadow online and to have a mana-efficient turn. Obviously, we'll wait to see what else they're going to have, but if they don't play anything here, which I don't think they are, I think I'm Dismembering. I've seen better Dismembers in my day, but that's a pretty respectable one, all things considered. I guess we're supposed to play Goyfure. It's a fine draw. Really would have preferred to draw on a third land so we could go Shadow Kroxa. In fact, is there an argument for simply playing Kroxa now? Their hand is Castle Garenbrig, one unknown, right? Nah, I think we play Goyf. Like, Kroxa should still be live next turn. Okay, Valakut. Thoughtseize, yeah. Yeah. Ugh, another tough one. Another tough one. I want to get the Shadow down. There is one unknown in their hand, right? I'm going to look back in the log. So our first... Let's see. Our Inquisition revealed Forest and Castle. And on their turn 2, they bounced the Forest back. So there is indeed one unknown in there. I guess we're probably supposed to Thoughtseize and then play Shadow, because, like, let's say they have just 2 lands in hand. Yes, Kroxa getting one out of there is fine, but it's not going to stop them from making their 6th mana. Whereas Thoughtseizing here could take away a payoff. They have something in hand. If nothing else, it just gives us a... Yeah, okay. 2 lands. That's fine. Like, playing Shadow is arguably better than Kroxa, even if we didn't Thoughtseize there. Just gotta clock him. And now, we actually are going to have lethal next turn, right? Shadow becomes a 7/7 if we tap Peatland, and TBR is overwhelmingly lethal, so... You gotta be kidding me. What did they find? What did they find? Don't do it. Don't have it. Did you really rip it? They ripped the Titan! Ah! No! So, you know, our consolation here is that Kroxa wouldn't have changed that. But, you guys with me yet on how crazy and stupid these decks are? I can't freaking believe they ripped the Titan. They got 1 turn. They got 1 turn to do such a thing, and they do it. Okay, what can we find? We can find a Street Wraith. It's not bad. So Street Wraith putting us to an 8/8. TBR tapping Peatland putting us to a 9/9. We're attacking for 18. Suppose we have to kind of cycle this main phase in case we want anything else to do. This is where my lack of experience comes in. Maybe it's better to wait and use it as a combat trick, but I think I'm going to main phase it. Ghost Quarter, that could be okay. So if we swing out with both, once again, we're putting them to... We're putting ourselves down to 9. We'll be swinging for 18. So if they don't block with Titan, they're going to die. If they block Goyf with Titan, they're going to die. Right? Shadow's going to be doing 18 damage. No, if they block Goyf with Titan, and then they double block Shadow, they'll live and they'll be at 2 and will die horribly on the crackback. But then we could TBR Goyf and trade with Titan, and then we're still probably going to lose. But then we can GQ, like, Field of the Dead. Yikes. Scary. Scary situations. I mean, clearly we have to attack. Like, if we just let Titan attack, we were just going to lose. So I guess we attack and see how they block and take it from there. The other option is playing Kroxa, but again, we have to attack. We have to present lethal. Okay, if I did my math right, this is lethal. Yeah, baby. That's the one. That's the one. We're doing shadow things. We're scraping out wins against big mana. I'll take it, guys. I'll take it. That was intense. Hey, look at us. Look at us. You know, maybe we'll even play a non-big mana deck here in the 5th and final round. Steven, I think your list is looking awesome, dude. I really hope you're enjoying this one. We can all agree about some of the bad luck we had in the first opening rounds, and that combined with my lack of expertise means we have been on the ropes for most of this league. But look, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're playing for the positive result. We're playing for the 3-2. Let's try to get it. This is a true shadow hand with no whiff of mid-range about it. It is a keep. Be nice to be on the play with a hand like this, I think, but it's a keep. Oh no, I don't want to play a mirror. I don't have the skill to play a mirror match successfully. Yikes. Okay, well, I didn't really want to play big mana again, but I don't really want to play a mirror. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. I assume we're supposed to let this resolve and not Street Wraith in response. They take away Thoughtseize. Yep. All right. Client lagging on us here near the end, so we're going to bobble ourselves to start things off, I guess. Stomping Ground on the top. Do we want that? Do we want to cycle into that with the Wraith? Yeah, second land's pretty good. Now we can fetch, shock, traverse. I don't even know what we're supposed to traverse for in this matchup, really. But I'm going to do it. Alright, we could get a third land. We could get Kroxa. Is getting Kroxa the thing to do? Like, we already have 2 shadows. Like, just getting the attrition is probably good in this matchup. I'm gonna go for it. Obviously, it's a little loose without the 3rd and 4th land anywhere in sight. But I'm gonna go for it. Kroxa OP. We gotta put this to the test. This is for science. We gotta see if the mid-range splash gives us the advantage in this matchup. Opponent has to traverse for a basic land like a nerd. Only joking, obviously. And look at that amazing Onslaught Swamp, the exact one I play. Beautiful taste. I'm gonna let the opponent know. Nice basic. Heart. They take TBR. We have Inquisition. We like that over Kroxa? I don't really think so. I think I'm going to play Kroxa. Well, nah, I think the responsible thing to do is to Inquisition here. And then decide whether we want to Fetch Shock play a 1-1 Shadow. They have another Traverse, so if we take a creature, we're going to turn on their Traverse. They also have Become Immense, so this is the Suicide Zoo version. So we're both off the beaten path in terms of the meta. So taking Traverse is actually kind of good here, I think. Just for that exact reason. Like, or we just take a shadow, they probably just traverse for another one. I literally can't tell which one is better at this stage of the game. I'll take a shadow. Okay, opponent's drawn Monomorphos. So Goyf plus Become Immense is a lot. Gotta watch out for that. To the point where it might be correct to just play Kroxa next turn and play Stomping Ground tapped, but if they weren't threatening that pump spell, of course, we do have the line of shock in, make shadows bigger, play a shadow, play a Kroxa. Goyf 5/6. And we have 5 card types in our own yard, so even their own Become Immense won't shrink it at all. So Goyf can put us to 1, yeah, or we can just draw a Thoughtseize. That seems good. Taking that Become Immense. They have Traverse and a land. I think now I'm jamming big old Kroxa. Sadly, Shadow is still just a tad undersized compared to their Goyf. That's the only bad thing about what's going on. But obviously, if they attack us, that poses its own risks, to say the least. And we did just put them down to 10 because they pitched their land, so now TBR is lethal unless they traverse for a shadow, which I guess they probably will. Yep, I'm commentating as I see it. You know, as always, for the nth time in the league, I've got my disclaimer of I'm not really a shadow player, so who knows? Who knows how good any of this is? But you know what would be pretty good is drawing a relatively painless land, I guess, for Kroxa. But they've emptied out their hand anyway. Yeah, I'm not jumping. I'll go to 3. Okay. So we can play the Kroxa now. I guess that's better than Shadow just because it's so mana efficient. We also, like, they have to block if we attack with this Shadow. They have to jump. I'm pretty sure we kind of win and lose to the same draws off the top of their deck. So why don't we just do the more mana efficient thing and play Mr. Kroxa. I'm not going to think too hard about what to do here. Okay, live or die based on their draw. We're dead to Fatal Push. Monastery Swiftspear. We're not dead to that. But they're not dead on the crackback either, but we're in a pretty good spot. They have to double chump. And we have the ability to just find lethal right now. With this peatland? Nope. Okay, we didn't find lethal, but unless they play Lightning Bolt, I think we got him. Yep, we got him. Nice, nice. Beating the pseudo mirror. Game 1. Hey, the Kroxa, man. We tutored for a Kroxa nice and early. That proved to be, I think, pretty decent. I don't know if it was necessarily optimal. There are probably a couple ways it could have gone sideways, but I will certainly take it. So against the Suicide Zoo version of Shadow, I guess just anything that's removal is pretty good. I don't think we want Ashiok here. I think they're too ruthless, like they're too fast and aggressive. Like, yes, it can shut off fetches, it can shut off Become Immense, it can maybe make some other things like, yeah, it can shut off Traverse too. That actually does a lot. We'll think about one Ashiok. I don't want two, I don't think, especially on the draw. Plague Engineer seems okay, Rider seems good. What are we supposed to do for our side of things? Once again, this is not really the matchup for Ren and 6 to shine because they are like the most aggro slanted of all the Shadow variants. They're not really trying to grind that much, so I'm going to cut 2, maybe even the 3rd Ren. I also think I'm going to pivot into my more mid-range role and probably not really play, maybe not play with the TBRs, but I'm not sure how correct that is. TBR Gore Clan on the chomping block. Maybe one Street Wraith could be shaved too, because they are aggressive. I'll play an Ashiok. We'll see how it goes. Let's just cut all the Rens. I'll keep Gore Clan because it can be hardcast. I guess Plague Engineer is probably worth playing just as mostly a 2/2 Death Toucher here. It's a little bit all over the place with the sideboarding, but like our sideboard is super techy with a lot of 1 and 2 of, so when we're not playing against a linear archetype, our sideboard is probably going to feel something like this. Yeah. I can buy it, guys. I can buy it. Alrighty, OP keeping 7. Our hand's unexciting. But we're probably just supposed to keep threat-dense hands. It's totally fine. I mean, we're soft to their nut draw, but mulling seems pretty bad here too, I guess. Alright, we've hit a second land. That's a good start. Let's just bobble ourselves, pull that old trick off here. Overgrown Tomb on the top. The 3rd land, I kind of want the 3rd land because we are setting up toward Kroxa. We don't want to necessarily operate off peatland too much. But one thing, I guess we should run out the fetch land either way, and then we can decide based on what they do here. Right? I really hope they just do nothing. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. We're drawing the tomb whether I want to or not. Okay, Once Upon a Time on turn 2. And like I said, I do think I like the tomb here. Alright, they probably have a Tarmogoyf. That's kind of what we wanted to fade. If they did nothing, we would have a really nice, it would be a really nice window for Kroxa. Okay, Monomorphos. Maybe they're gonna desperately dig for a Goyf. Nope, they haven't. Okay. Playing it safe with our life total here. Found Ashiok. You know, I'm not that excited to see it. Kroxa could be good here, but at the risk of them having a kill spell, I think we're just supposed to play our own Goyf. It's not clear whether we're supposed to block if they let us go to blocks, but yeah, they got Fatal Push, whatever. We're getting closer to Traverse. I think our hand would be pretty good, actually, on the draw here. We would have gotten to go either lead on our own Tarmogoyf or maybe lead on Kroxa. But as it is, we're kind of getting run over. We gotta draw a kill spell of our own. Thoughtseize. Yikes. But at least this could maybe clear the way for our own Goyf to make the stand. Double Kolaghan's Command in a Spyro? Okay, we basically just lose here. Because the K commands force us, like, they're going to allow them to trade with our Goyfs. Well, hold on. We are going to have Traverse after our Thoughtseize resolves, so we can start eating through their hand and then Traverse for a Shadow. So we're going to go to 11, we're going to go to 10. So, like, the Kolaghan's commands aren't even that good at killing our Shadow, even right out of the gates. Taking Spyro's obviously good in its own way. But I think K-Command can just buy back Spyro, right? Let's take a K-Command. And I guess we're kind of priced into playing this other Goyf, actually. And forcing them to shock it. Yeah, just getting run over here. Alright. Pitching our Ashiok grows their Goyfs, which kind of sucks. But it's pretty clearly our worst card here in this situation. We need to draw like Fatal Push so we can push Traverse for Shadow, play a Shadow. So let's just plan to do that. Another Goyf. Not quite gonna do it. We're dead if we play Kroxa. We're dead if we do almost anything here. So I guess we'll Traverse to see if there's anything I'm missing, but pretty sure we're just dead. What can we put together? Yeah, if we had another Shadow in hand, obviously. Yeah, we're dead. We're dead as far as I can see. I'm pretty tired. You know, I play these immediately after work. I think I've come this far decently enough, considering my lack of experience. If there's an edge case that I missed, whatever. Like I said, we were soft to a super aggressive start. Maybe that was a reason enough to mulligan. I don't know. I'm not as experienced in the matchup as somebody who might have made that decision with a clear conscience. And maybe I erred too much on the side of value. I'm less than impressed with Ashiok after that. I know gets better on the play, but still. Think I'd rather just have another consistency tool. But I'm thinking of, like, their traverses and everything else, and I'm kind of wanting to keep one in on the play to cheese out a win. I'm not seeing that much else. Like, we could put back in a TBR. We could put back in a Street Wraith. I think those are fine. Even putting back our 1 Ren and 6 on the play seems fine. But I think I'm actually just going to go for the Ashiok cheese here. They are a Traverse deck. I think playing 1 Ashiok against even a very aggressive Traverse deck is pretty justifiable on the play. And that was like the worst case scenario for Ashiok. Like, we're soft to an aggro rollout. They've got an aggro rollout, and we're on the draw. So we'll give it another shot here. It all comes down to this, guys. We'll take the play, and we will keep. Good enough for me. Once again, it lacks kill spells, but we are way more likely to leverage our Kroxa effectively on the play. We have a Thoughtseize on top, huh? Do we want that? Probably. It's super awkward that we don't have it turn 1, though. And I could see that, you know, because we don't have it turn 1, maybe we don't want it at all. But that's probably incorrect. We'll go ahead and draw our Thoughtseize. Then we're going to bobble ourselves again on the end step. The opponent's got all their free spells. Straight Wraith into Once Upon a Time. We haven't really gotten to do the Once Upon a Time thing this league. That's been the one downside. We do have those in our deck, right? We sure do. Haven't really opened on them. Maybe once. Can't remember, but something like that. Feels bad, but... KOP found a Shadow. They have a Stomping Ground, so no Thoughtseize T1. Alright, let's bobble ourselves again. If we do not fetch, we'll draw a Shadow of our own. Yeah, I like that well enough. We got our Shadow. We got Murderous Rider too. Cool. I'll toss this Kroxa out there. So, you know, to be fair, most of our draws are pretty much gas, because we're operational with what we've got, and if we're drawing lands, that turns on first Rider, followed by Kroxa down the road. OP with a Thoughtseize, which is what we wanted kind of to fade. Seems like a really good spot for one. It's not like our hand is crippled by it, but our hand's not really redundant either. We have like one each of a lot of reasonable things. So you wouldn't be surprised to see them take our Thoughtseize here, because then, until further notice, the only thing that we can do is play Goyf. But Rider is a 2-for-1 they might feel priced into taking. Obviously, Shadow is always a premier card in any matchup. Only thing I expect them not to take is TBR, but if they do take that, it's a sign they don't really have kill spells. They take the Rider. Okay. Kind of mission accomplished for Rider just simply by existing. They might have Veil of Summer. I'm gonna be very sad if they do. But I think we're supposed to make him have it here. Don't Veil me, please. Ah, no Veil. Beautiful. Okay. Time to think here. Time to think very carefully. They have a Lightning Bolt about which we do not care. Especially because we know about it. So, could take a Shadow here, but those are stranded in hand for now. So we should take either Spyro or K-Command. Once again, I think I'm just going to take K-Command. Spyro is pretty clunky as things stand. Alright, now we got good old Tarmogoyf leading the charge. If we draw any non-forest land, we can start getting Kroxa into the mix. Opponent drew an Inquisition. Okay. It's a pretty good draw at this stage if they weren't going to have anything else to do. Nice, we found the land. So, what's the line here? We play Kroxa. They're going to stay at 16. We attack with Goyf. We put them down to 11. They're going to have some 4/4 shadows. A 4/4 shadow. Yeah, it's Kroxa time. It's smacking time. We gotta respect their shadows, but, you know, we have shadows too. So over there they have creature instant sorcery. So I'll begin by getting rid of my creatures, instants, and sorceries, I guess. And then we'll lose 1 land and 1 artifact, and Goyf therefore stays as big as possible. Alright, our position's pretty good, but... Ooh, opponent found another black land. A little scary. This is where I start getting nervous, because they're definitely more versed with all the shadow tricks than I am. You know, they can bolt themselves to grow bigger, whatever. Oh, we draw a Plague Engineer, okay. Are we supposed to just deploy our hand here? Plague Man dies to bolts. I don't think we can safely attack with Kroxa, because if we do, you know, they could bolt themselves, then they go down to 2, but then their shadows are gigantic. 1 eats Kroxa in combat. I mean, maybe the best line is simply to crack Peatland looking for a Fatal Push or another form of removal. But it's really not bad to go make a 5/5 shadow, play the Plague Engineer, pass. It's really not bad. Plays better around discard too. I guess we're going to do that. Didn't really expect them to have Lightning Bolt in. Definitely makes Plague Engineer worse, but... Again, if they have to bolt him, they're not making their shadows bigger or going upstairs with it to us or who knows what else. They're going to untap and see what they draw. Makes sense. They found something to do. They found a Tarmogoyf. That's a good find. They're going to pass. All right, we've got time for good finds too. Yes, it's a Fatal Push. Sweet. All right. Begin by cracking Peatland. Maybe we'll find another. We find Traverse. I think we're supposed to push while we know they don't have Veil of Summer. Traverse is pretty good, though. So, still don't think turning them all sideways is where it's at. Like, they have to bolt in response. Let's say they bolt the Plague Engineer, then Kroxa puts them to 5. Like, that's another way to grow the shadow. Just makes it too big. The Tarmogoyfs run into each other. They'll go to 3, kill us on the crackback. So, we'll Traverse here. And say go. Just gonna get a swamp so we can get Kroxa online if the game gets grindier. I don't see much reason to do anything besides keep going wide. This seems really good. Like, at some point we can start attacking with Kroxa to get action out of their hand, and then we can just rebuy them, but I don't... That wasn't the... That's the turn when we have nothing else to do, I guess. Okay, they have Delirium. They will traverse. For a shadow. No surprise. Okay, now might be a decent time for a Kroxa attack. It's not a bad time for like an all-around attack in general, but I think it's going to just be Kroxa here. This is a super intense ending, guys. I'm super out of my comfort zone. I hope I'm playing it well. So again, as I've talked about a couple times, they do have a variety of lines with this Lightning Bolt. Oh, we get Veil of Summer out of their hand. That could be huge. That could be absolutely huge. They're just taking it. Ooh. All right. I mean, I get it, I guess. I didn't expect them to just take it. Now we're just going to bluff with this Bloodstained Mire. Obviously, they turn their shadow sideways. We've got to do some jump blocking. They can bolt our Plague Engineer first if that's the play. But... yeah, they're at the risk of dying on the crackback if they attack very aggressively here. Kroxa beating Veil of Summer cleanly. Is there anything Kroxa can't do? Okay, Monomorphos. This reduces their ability to bluff. Like, if they're going to go Temur Battle Rage this turn, they've kind of got to main phase it. Which, to be fair, is still a disaster. I think we're still just overwhelmingly dead if they have that. That is the concession! Whoa, dudes! Steven Mirabito, my friend. I hope you like this league. This was a long league. It was a really rough league to start things out. But we stuck in, we came back, and we cashed it, despite running into 4 big mana decks where our mid-range Plan B doesn't really shine, at least mostly, compared to a more all-in Shadow or a Shadow like Grixis that can interact on the stack. And we ran into a mirror. And I'm the last one who should be playing a mirror with a super complicated deck like this, but we did manage to get there. So, I'm very, very, very happy with what we managed to put together, the manner in which we won certain games, and honestly, with the way your list performed. Like I said, the circumstances were very far from ideal for it to shine, and it did. I think that Kroxa is a disgustingly powerful card in any kind of an attrition shell. And this is no exception. Like, yes, you have to warp your deck more to fit it than you do a normal Jund, for sure. In Jund, it's pretty much just a free roll. But here you have to warp it a little bit more. But how good was Kroxa, honestly, here? Helping us get over the line against Big Mana, and really helping us get over the line against the Shadow Mirror. Renin 6 definitely was the underperformer, and as I mentioned, we did have the third Renin 6 at least on the potential chopping block. Honestly, based on my limited experience here today, I would advise that. However, we did have our one moment of glory when we looped and GQ'd Tron out of the game with the one Renin 6 we left in the deck, so hey guys, I will take it. Steven, I hope you're happy with this, my friend. I hope this was a interesting showcase for a very interesting brew. And it might be nice to see the thoughts in the comments from some more experienced Shadow players. I certainly have, my input, but my input is not worth all that much, given my dearth of experience. So there we go, my friends. I won't spend too long on a wrap-up here, because I don't have the expertise. I try to have the volume of my commentary inversely correlate with my level of expertise on the subject, so I probably shouldn't say much more than I've already said. We are trying to do a lot with this deck. That's the one thing I will say. We are trying to do a little bit of everything, including some cards in the sideboard like that we can't necessarily tutor for, that are still just one-ofs, that can sometimes be hard to cast. So, maybe that's the play. Maybe that is the mode, but maybe we could also streamline the sideboard just a little bit more. I haven't run into Burn. The collective brutalities are kind of what stand out to me, but I'm sure you're right about that. I'm sure we just need them, so that is what it is. But anyway, guys, this was a really fun change of pace. I don't have plans to pivot into Shadow anytime soon, and the only reason I was able to play this Shadow deck is because Steven was kind enough to lend me the missing cards. Specifically, Once Upon a Time was the one that I didn't want to buy, because it's super overpriced on MTGO, and I think it's going to get banned on Monday, personally. But anyway, that was our league, and I am amenable to future Death Shadow donation leagues. It was a fun change of pace. It's a very powerful archetype, and if you are a donor and you want to consider that, if you've got a donation league coming up, if you're a patron, or even if you're not and you're interested in just sending me money directly for a donation league, I am willing to play Shadow decks, but I will probably need to borrow some missing pieces from you, if you have them to lend. So anyway, guys, thank you once again to Steven Mirabito for being a confidant here for 9 months, which was almost enough to get him a donation league, and then he kicked me the missing $5 to get this one in the queue sooner. Thank you so much, Steven, for your support. Thank you, as always, to all Patreon supporters. Like I said, guys, if you want to tell me what lines I missed in the comments, you want to tell me about sideboarding, please feel free, but I'm not, actively trying to cultivate my knowledge on this deck. Number one, it's a brew version of a archetype, and number two, I don't play the archetype. So you can always share your thoughts in the comments, but, I'm not abandoning BGX for Shadow anytime soon. But this was super fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please do stick around, because we've got, I'm going to cover the ban list stuff on Monday when it happens, both Modern and Pioneer. Then we're always going to keep playing more Modern, but I do also want to revisit Mono Black Aggro and Pioneer. I have been playing a little bit of that just in practice lobbies off camera. I'm kind of hip to the new tech. Marauder of Mogus is cool, and some other things in Mono Black are cool. I've got the urge to revisit that if we get an inverter ban of some kind. So tons more Modern content coming, as always, and a bit of Pioneer as well. I thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful day.